Hi guys, Alex here and welcome back to another SSR analysis video, and today we are taking a look at every single Great Ape unit currently in the game, and hopefully by the end of this video I will be able to tell you guys which one is the best. So if we get started with INT Great Ape Nappa, his leader skill increases the HP, attack and defense of INT types by 30%, his super attack causes extreme damage, his passive skill increases INT type attack and defense by 25%, and he also has a very rare chance to turn into a Great Ape. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has Same Warrior Race, Brutal Beatdown, Tough as Nails, Berserker, Over 9000, Gigantism and War of the Saiyans. So overall this Nappa doesn't really provide much unless he is on an INT type team. Obviously his passive skill is only useful for one type, and his links also are not the greatest, which would definitely make it harder to implement this unit into certain teams. He is however a farmable unit, so at least he will be dealing a decent amount of damage. So if we now move on to Tech Great Ape Bardock, his leader skill increases the HP and attack of all types by 20%, his super attack causes supreme damage, his passive skill gives him a 70% attack boost when HP is 30% or above, and there is also a rare chance of him transforming into a Great Ape. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has Same Warrior Race, the Saiyan Lineage, Team Bardock, Saiyan Pride, Gigantism and War of the Saiyan. So this Bardock is actually a fairly decent unit. He gets a big attack boost from his passive skill, he has a better chance of turning into a Great Ape, and he also has some very good key links such as the Saiyan Lineage, Team Bardock and Gigantism. So overall the main purpose of this unit is definitely to deal damage, and he is definitely going to deal a ton thanks to his passive skill. So if we now move on to Agility Great Ape Tora, his leader skill increases the HP and attack of Agility and STR types by 30%, his super attack causes extreme damage, his passive skill gives free key to all types when HP is less than 80%, and he also has a rare chance of transforming into a Great Ape. So this unit is clearly a very good supportive unit thanks to his passive skill. He does have the HP restriction, which is definitely a bit of a letdown. It would have been much better if it was above a certain percentage. However, this passive skill can definitely be very useful, especially in agility type teams. But if we have a look at his link skills, he has Same Warrior Race, Team Bardock, Saiyan Pride, Gigantism, War of the Saiyan and the Saiyan Lineage. So he clearly has some very similar links to the previous unit, which obviously means that he has some very good key links such as Team Bardock, Gigantism and the Saiyan Lineage. However, I feel like the main problem with this unit is that outside of his passive skill he isn't very useful. The chance of him turning into a Great Ape is so rare, and for his passive skill to activate your HP has to be below a certain percentage. As I said before, he does have a few decent key links, but outside of his passive skill he definitely isn't very useful. So if we now move on to Physical Great Ape Borgos, his leader skill increases the HP and defense of physical types by 60%, his super attack causes supreme damage, he gets a 7% attack boost for every orb collected from his passive skill, and he also has a rare chance of becoming a Great Ape. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has Team Barlock, Gigantism, War of the Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Pride, the Saiyan Lineage and Infighter. So this Great Ape is clearly a nuker thanks to his passive skill. He causes supreme damage, which is definitely going to be helpful, and like the previous two units he also has some very good links. However, because of how irrelevant nuking is in the current meta, he isn't that useful outside of his nuking ability. He does have some very good key links as I mentioned before. He is obviously going to deal a ton of damage for every orb collected. However, when it comes to physical types there are much better options that deal more damage. So if we now move on to Physical Great Ape Kid Goku, his leader skill increases HP by 50%, his super attack causes extreme damage, and when facing 2 or more enemies he gets a 70% attack boost from his passive skill, and there is also a rare chance of him turning into a Great Ape. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has All in the Family, The Innocence, Mystical Wonderland, Mysterious Adventure, Gigantism and War of the Saiyan. So Great Ape Goku can be a decent leader for certain events. However, his passive skill is way too situational. It only activates when facing 2 or more enemies, and not to mention his link skills also are not the greatest. So when he isn't getting that attack boost or turning into a Great Ape, he really isn't providing much. The lack of any good key links definitely lets him down. As I said before, he has a somewhat decent leader skill. However, apart from that, he really isn't that great of a unit overall. So if we now move on to INT Great Ape Shugesh, his leader skill increases the HP and defense of INT types by 60%, his super attack causes extreme damage and he also greatly lowers defense, his passive skill gives 5000 defense to all allies, and he also has a rare chance of transforming into a Great Ape. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has Team Bardock, Gigantism, War of the Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Pride, and the Saiyan lineage. So this is definitely a very interesting unit. His ability to greatly reduce defense is definitely very useful, especially for Dokkan events. In my opinion, his passive skill really isn't that great. Defense is such an obsolete stat that it really doesn't make a difference when it does get boosted. He does, however, have some very good key links such as Team Barlock, Gigantism, and the Saiyan lineage. But apart from his ability to greatly reduce defense, he doesn't really provide anything outside of that. So if we now move on to STR Great Ape Raditz, his leader skill gives free keys to all types when HP is 50% or above. His super attack causes supreme damage, and like one of the previous units, he gets a 7% attack boost per orb collected, and he also has a rare chance of becoming a Great Ape. So this unit is clearly going to deal a ton of damage thanks to his passive skill. He is obviously capable of nuking. However, unlike the other units, he has a very good leader skill. He gets free key to all types when HP is 50% or above, which obviously means that on top of being able to deal a ton of damage, he is also a very good leader. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, Coward, the Saiyan lineage, Brutal Beatdown, Nightmare, Gigantism, and War of the Saiyan. So overall, this Raditz is definitely a very good leader. He's a very good damage dealing unit, and he also has some fairly good key links. So if we now move on to STR Great Ape Vegeta, her leader skill gives free key to all types when HP is 50% or more. Her super attack causes supreme damage, and thanks to her passive skill, she can change INT key orbs to STR key orbs, and she also has a rare chance of becoming a Great Ape. So this unit is clearly very similar to the previous one. They have the exact same leader skill, they both cause supreme damage. However, the main difference is that Vegeta is a support unit. So if we have a quick look at her link skills, she has Saiyan Warrior Race, Team Bardock, Saiyan Pride, Battle Diva, the Saiyan lineage, Gigantism, and War of the Saiyan. So overall, she is definitely a very useful unit. She is capable of supporting STR type units thanks to her passive skill. She isn't going to hit as hard as Raditz, but she definitely allows for other STR type units to deal damage. And not to mention, she also has some very good key links such as Team Bardock, Saiyan lineage, and Gigantism. So if we now move on to Agility Great Ape Vegeta, his leader skill increases the HP and defense of agility types by 60%. His super attack causes supreme damage, and when HP is 80% or less, he gets a 70% attack boost from his passive skill, and there is also a rare chance of him becoming a Great Ape. And if we have a look at his link skills, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, the Vegeta family, Big Bad Bosses, Prodigies, Over 9000, Gigantism, and War of the Saiyan. This Vegeta is definitely going to be a damage dealing unit thanks to his passive skill. He also causes supreme damage, which will obviously increase the amount of damage that he can do. However, the biggest letdown about this unit is definitely the HP restriction on his passive skill. It would have been much better if it was above a certain percentage, and not to mention he also doesn't have the greatest key links. So like some of the previous units, he isn't very useful when he isn't dealing damage, and the fact that he doesn't have very compatible link skills is also a bit of a letdown. However, when his passive skill does activate, he is definitely going to be a very hard hitter. So if we now move on to Agility Great Ape Turles, his leader skill gives 2 key to all types, and he also increases their attack and defense by 20%. His super attack causes supreme damage, and he also has a rare chance to stun. He gets a 70% attack boost when key is 9 or more, and he also has a rare chance to become a Great Ape. So far, this Turles is definitely a very good unit. He has a very good leader skill that gives 2 key to all types as well as an attack and defense boost. He is capable of stunning with his super attack, and he is obviously going to deal a ton of damage thanks to his passive skill, and he also causes supreme damage. And if we have a quick look at his link skills, he has Destroyer of the Universe, Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepared for Battle, First for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses, Gigantism, and War of the Saiyan. So Turles clearly has the best links out of all these units. He has Prepared for Battle, which is a top tier link and obviously links well with other top tier units, but overall this Turles is an incredible unit. He has a great leader skill, he has a great passive skill, and he also has some very good link skills. So if we now move on to the final part of this video, so coming in at 10th place is INT Great Ape Nappa. He really isn't that great of a unit despite his super attack being farmable. His passive skill is only useful for one type. He has the worst chance of becoming a Great Ape out of all the units, and he also doesn't link up very well with other units. So in 9th place comes Physical Great Ape Kid Goku. Apart from his leader skill, he really isn't that useful of a unit. As I mentioned before, his passive skill is way too specific. The amount of times that you're going to be facing 2 or more opponents is definitely very rare, and the fact that he doesn't have any good key links definitely lets him down even more. So in 8th place comes Physical Great Ape Borgos. His only real ability is to deal damage through his passive skill. He does have decent key links, but apart from that, he really isn't that great of a unit. As I mentioned before, there are plenty of other physical types that will do a ton more damage and have better links. So in 7th place is INT Great Ape Shugesh. The only really good thing that this unit provides is the ability to greatly reduce defense, which can definitely be very useful for certain Dokkan events. The defensive boost that it gives to all allies really isn't that great of a deal. He does have decent key links, but outside of his ability to greatly reduce defense, he really isn't that great. So in 6th place comes Agility Great Ape Vegeta. So this unit is clearly going to deal a ton of damage thanks to his passive skill and the fact that he can do supreme damage. He does however have a HP restriction on his passive skill, which is definitely a bit of a letdown, and on top of that he also doesn't have the greatest key links. So in 5th place comes Agility Great Ape Tora. He's a very good support unit, however the one thing that does let him down is the HP restriction. As I said before, when he isn't providing key with his passive skill, he really isn't that useful. He does have a few decent key links, however I don't believe it's enough to make up for the HP restriction on his passive skill. So in 4th place comes Tech Great Ape Bardock. The reason why I rank him higher than Tora is because he is capable of consistently dealing damage. Like Tora, he has some very good key links, but obviously the main purpose of this card is to deal damage. So in 3rd place comes STR Great Ape Raditz. He has a very good leader skill. He is capable of dealing a ton of damage thanks to his passive skill. He doesn't have the greatest link skills, however I definitely feel like his leader skill more than makes up for it. So in 2nd place comes STR Great Ape Varsha, which obviously means that in 1st place comes Agility Great Ape Turles. The reason why I rank Varsha above STR Great Ape Raditz is because of her ability to support STR type units. I definitely feel like this is way more useful than being able to deal a ton of damage, and on top of her passive skill she also has some fairly decent key links. So the reason why Great Ape Turles is superior to the other units is simply because he is a much better unit overall. He debatably has the best leader skill out of all the units. His super attack causes supreme damage and he also can stun. He gets a pretty big attack boost from his passive skill, and not to mention he also has some very good key links such as prepared for battle, and this obviously allows him to link up with other top tier units, which is something that some of the other Great Apes aren't capable of. But that is the video guys, I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm currently finishing off a video for a new series that I am starting, but as always don't forget to leave your opinions and your suggestions down below. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more Dragon Ball content. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.